My name is Dele from Nigeria. I'm 35. I came to the UK when I was about 9 years old. I grew up watching the old Kung Fu style movies, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. So they kind of inspired me. So I took up boxing about 15, 16-ish. Boxing and martial arts and fighting generally was a way to escape some of the not so nice aspect of the environment I grew up in. By the time I come back from school, rather than hit the streets, I went into the gym and I spent 4 or 5 hours just training. I've had 3 amateur fights in boxing, street boxing, and 2 MMA fights. And I've been in street fights and sanctioned fights. My opponent, Yordan, I think he's better than me in chess. Boxing, pussy. It's a fighting sport, and if someone's going to get hurt, it won't be me though.
I'm Yordan, I'm from Bulgaria, 30 years old. I work in finance, creating trading algorithms for currency trading. So I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. My most recent conquest is Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. When I'm not climbing mountains, I enjoy water sports like surfing, also kitesurfing. In my teenage years, I used to practice kickboxing, Muay Thai and K1. And I also participated in multiple competitions in that space. I've also had one chessboxing fight against David. It was actually an accidental fight because his opponent was unwell on the day. I had to step in. David was quite a good opponent and he managed to win the game against me with a timeout in the 7th round of chess. My chess experience, I haven't had much competitive experience, but I play online. My online ELO is about 1400. My opponent is Dele. I haven't met him before or played against him. I'm fairly confident in my skill set and hope that we manage to put together a good show.
Let's hear it for our two. So our next fighter likes having fun whilst working towards making a better world. What a great guy. He travelled from the streets of Lagos, Nigeria. Our next heavyweight is ready to rumble in the jungle. Make some noise for Dele Martin!
As they are setting up, for those on the stream, I'll introduce yet another special guest. Next, they just keep coming, Matt. This one, as special as the last, as he puts his earpiece on, Carl Ouch.
FIDE Master Carl Ouch, one of the best chess boxers in the world.
FIDE Master, undefeated, terrible at sticking his earpiece in. You'll just have to put up with hearing us.
So, we have a sort of small technical snafu while Carl gets his earpiece in. Carl, can you hear us at the moment?
Well, I'm deaf in one ear, but this is pushing it. So I don't hear a word.
We'll speak to colleagues in a second. You should be fine. You should be fine for the chess bout, though.
And as these two beasts settle down, we're joined by yet another special commentator, Carl Ouch to my right. Carl, you're an undefeated 10-0 chess boxer. Talk us through the opening here.
Well, special indeed. I'm the GOAT. I mean, I've been at the bar the last half hour explaining to people I'm the GOAT to get free beers. And they're believing me up to now, so I'm having an extremely good evening.
FIDE master Carl Ouch, the GOAT at chess and chess boxing.
I'm 10 out of 10. You know, I'm a bit like the Zlatan Ibrahimovic of chess boxing, if one must put a...
The Zlatan Ibrahimovic of chess boxing, but better, I mean, better company, I'm sure.
Most definitely.
What have we got here, Carl? So, Dele Martin's quite similar to the previous one. We've got another Catalan.
I must admit that the chess level has really, I mean, just exploded completely. I mean, compared to the last time I fought was Toby White in 2019, and it's just like a different planet. Now, the chess really is, in the last game, that taking on b5 to gain the bishop, I'm not sure I would have seen that. To be honest. I mean, I might have seen it in a chess game.
Absolutely.
And the first exchange, sorry to interrupt, but an exchange of pawns in the center. We may see the queen swapped off as well here.
We may yet see, and we've seen an exchange of queens, an early exchange of queens. Goodness me. So yeah, fairly symmetrical position. White is probably going to get his bishop out at some point. Are we calling this even? Is the knight on c6 a bit funnily placed?
So in very simple terms, what does the exchange of queens mean for the nature of the position and the game that we're going to see from here on in?
But the problem is this, I mean, I'm assuming that nobody can hear me, right? The problem with this knight on c6, it's actually misplaced. This last move, e4, is a little bit probably imprecise because there's a big weakness on c7. And normally the pawn should be on c6, not the knight.
So if you're black here, are you playing something like bishop to g4, swapping off the knight and then playing knight to d4? I mean, he's played bishop e6, which suggests that's not the plan, but something to move the knight into d4 might be sort of positionally apposite for black here, I think.
Okay, here actually, all of a sudden, I kind of like white because of the d5 square.
Yep, bishop could come to g5 to pin it. The knight could go to g5 to drive that bishop back at some point.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Knight d7, a slightly circumspect move, and he's playing knight to g5. Really nice idea. Carl, are you happy with the knight for bishop exchange here, if you're black?
Well, this knight g5 is just extremely strong move. Simply, very strong move. And once he's done with that, he'll deal with other things. Okay. So 96. So everybody, it's like everybody's happy almost. You know, everybody's doing
a little dance. Oh, the knight is swapped off with the bishop.
I'm not sure about it. I would have possibly played a move like bishop e3 first, hitting the knight, and then take on e6. Because now those knights are actually looking. Oh,
hang on!
No, hang on! He's hung a piece. White has hung a piece. Oh, and he's missed it. And he's hung a piece. Oh no! What an absolute calamity! And after such a beautifully played opening, White blundered a piece, and then Black blundered a whole piece back.
But the thing is, what I can explain is that often people think it's after that you got hit that shit happens. But it's no.
It's the pressure.
It's before. It's the fight or flight mode. And this is exactly what's happening.
But Yordan has at least cemented his knight in that nice square on d4 at the start, right in the center of Dele's position. So Yordan has lost a little bit of material, but there are some certain positive features at least that he can fall back on.
Well, I'll defer to FIDE Master Ouch in a moment, but yeah, I mean it's a full exchange down in a symmetrical position. But those knights, as you say, provide a little bit of positional pull. That said, you've got to feel for White is doing very, very well here, but we're still in kind of blunder territory. Anything can happen once the boxing starts.
What a bizarre episode that was, Carl. White just left his bishop hanging and Black trusted his opponent.
In this type of position, very often Black could have sacked the exchange to get this d4 square. So, you know, the rook is only the rook is only like superior in theory. There's only one open file, and that open file is actually blocked by the knight. So
Yeah, and
in
there
practice, nothing's actually done yet. It's just like, yes, for sure. Like I would prefer to have white on paper, but that's as far as it goes.
there's a certain amount of pleasing coordination to black's position, so everything supports that knight cemented there on d4. The rook's behind it, the other knight, pawn, bishop behind the pawn. So yeah, everything is coherent, even if he's material down. If you're white, I suppose what you'd want to do is crack open a line, make use of that extra rook you've got. I don't know, maybe start advancing on the queen side, try and force open a line.
I just believe actually most probably it's equal at the end of the day. Like, you know, like especially in a chess boxing context, you know.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
It's anybody's chance, really.
Fascinating position, and it's going to be a fascinating contest in the ring. Yordanov I've seen before, and he really gave a very game effort against David Germany. Dele Martin's clearly a prime physical specimen here. Two heavyweight lads, and that contains with it as well the potential for the one-punch knockout, as referee Ronaldo gives them their final instructions.
And I was just to take the
So they're
opportunity.
heavyweight. They're weighing in at what weight? Do you know that?
So
91 and
kilos.
93.
Yeah, it's 90 plus kilos. They're big boys, as it goes. They're big lads. I was going to ask you, Carl. Obviously, we've already established you're the GOAT. That's not in question. But there must have been times where your chess opening hasn't gone quite as expected. How do you approach the boxing when the chess is not quite up to scratch? Does it change the way you box in the ring?
Well, I think we might have to pause that deconstruction because these two lads are just going at it. Dele grinning, almost enjoying as Yordan lands on him there. None of them are taking a breath or a backward step here. As Yordan lands another sledgehammer, right, that is quite a heavy pace that is being set. Referee Ronaldo finally stepping in to give them a breath, warning Dele for that little spin there, which I think was just the power of his right, was almost just making him spin around. That's really quite breathless. Dele straight back on it, ramrod right, but Yordan sucks it up well, comes back with a right of his own. It's a battle of the power shots here.
I think it's battle of the wills, if anything. There you go.
Oh, and the gum shield is out. The
Yeah.
blow was so heavy that Yordan's gum shield is out. He might not be that unhappy about that, giving him a 20 seconds respite as the gum shield gets located.
It looked much more scary than it actually was. You could see that he did respond to the shots, but there was a few seconds there that you could actually imagine that maybe he was seeing stars. You know, I've had that type of experience myself, where very luckily my opponent doesn't hit, not realizing to what extent I'm living in a different world. You know,
You've had that experience of being buzzed. This delay for the mouthpiece really is giving Yordan a chance to reset. I'm not for one moment saying it was deliberate, but it certainly benefits him and giving him a breather.
And the gum shield's out.
Which is out
The gum
again.
shield has fallen out, and it's
okay. It's okay.
inevitably time is ticking slightly. With the final minute left, what are you thinking for both sides? What do both sides need to do here?
I mean, if you're Dele, you just pour it back on again. I think you really want to assert yourself towards the end of the boxing round. And indeed, well, we'll say Dele's asserting himself, but Yordan is right back with a couple of his own, a decent ramrod jab into the face. Carl, what do you make of the standard boxing here?
Well, I think the standard is extremely good. I just think Yordan should somehow change his tactics and you know, just move around a little bit and admit that the guy is just a ball of energy, and you know, he's got to focus on the chess, even if he has the exchange down.
That was a wild right from Dele that missed somewhat.
Got to be pleased to not be in the end of that.
Oh, Dele forces Yordan back. There's not that much more air defense as the gum shield is out. Again, before the bell goes. Yordan is going to have to sort that out, or he's going to get in a bit of trouble with referee Ronaldo, but the crowd are right up for it
noise
now.
for Dele as well. Honestly, a very partisan crowd today.
Look at his face. Look at Yordan's face. He's just sucking up the air and the water that he can get from the spray bottle. And I mean, look at the position as well.
Well, there you go. If you know what you're fighting, it's a little bit like in chess when, for example, you might have a compromised position, but you have material up, and you know what exactly you're fighting for. You can kind of say, well, if I survive the attack, at least I'm going to have that to claim. But here, he doesn't exactly know what he has to claim. You know, it's just like he's the one with the exchange down. Any kind of movement on his part could be fatal to himself. So it's a very strange situation for him to be in. I think he just lost the you know, with this h6 business when he didn't see the bishop when he could have taken it. That just is totally decisive for all the rest of the match.
And yet, he's emerged with quite a coherent position that compensates for the material loss.
Indeed. And we will see,
So I'd be still. If I had the white pieces here, I'd be really tempted to try something like bishop h3 in the hope that he just lets me exchange a bishop for knight. I mean, it's a slightly crass move. And we are back. White and exchange up. But, Carl, those knights are looking pretty tasty, aren't they, for black?
Well, you could say they're tasty, or you could say one of them is superficial in the sense that, you know, they're doing the same job. At the same time, the F-file could be opened. There's a whole ton of plans that could be...
And indeed, that's what he's done. He's played F4. F4, a lovely idea. White not resting on his laurels. An exchange up, but black with a solid position is trying to change the nature of the position by opening the F-file. And F6, I don't love that.
No, I don't. I actually, no. I'm sorry to jump in here, but this is... the whole point was that at least... You know, black could have got a little bit of his own back by taking on F4 and that bishop on G7.
And what Dele is preparing here is to swing that other rook behind the rook he's just nudged forward. Then he's going to exchange the pawn for the pawn in the middle, and then I'll have those double rooks on an open file.
And I'm not... Oh, hang on, knight F3. Can you not just play knight F3 check? Is this not just winning a rook?
It's
black,
the rook on
White
G1
has blundered a rook, and I think black has missed it. Yeah. Oh, no. Another... flurry, which has completely changed the nature of the position. Black could have won this, and he's missed his opportunity.
It's real back and forth exchange of mistakes here. So black could have picked up a whole rook, but he missed the tactical shot there. What does the position look like to you now, Carl?
Well, let's put it this way. If he's missed his chance, there were the occasions, the opportunities were there. If when he goes, you know, he's going to look at the video a couple of times, as I do. I watch them at least 20 to 50 times. You know, after the fight, and he knows where he's going to regret And
I like F5. F5 is a decent move here. That knight doesn't have a great square to go to in this position. G takes F5, E takes F5, and then that F pawn and that bishop looks really, really grim. Whereas if you play a move like knight to G5 here, then you take on G6. If you take on F5 first, you've still got the dodgy pawn structure. I think white is close to winning now. The bishop will be able to come to D5, clogging up the D file. This has suddenly turned, although, as we said, Yordan had this wonderful opportunity, and it's gone.
And that black bishop really, at the moment, it's what we call a tool pawn. It's just stuck there behind those pawns on H6 and F6, and it'll take a couple of moves to activate it, if indeed he gets that luxury.
Back in the day, we would troll each other. We would take a pawn from the side of the board, and we would just exchange it for the bishop to tell our opponent, you know, in a friendly blitz, your bishop is more or less like a pawn.
And white has taken on G6 here as well. And we've had an illegal move. Little bit of a kerfuffle in the centre, which Canwell is sorting out. But while we do, just to recap, black had this incongruous opportunity to win the game with knight f3 check, winning a rook for... I say win the game. It was probably a little bit messy, but certainly get back into it. Whereas now, white has a huge advantage. White, who was doing so dominantly in the boxing.
Well, white has a huge advantage, but only in as much as the placement of the pieces. Very easily, for example, let's imagine that knight on c7 is actually on e5. All of a sudden, we can reconsider everything.
Yep,
because
so
that bishop on it, that light square bishop is actually not doing all that much. Just as much as that dark square bishop for black, you know, if you want some kind of analogy.
So Yordan's knight really needs to find itself a home. It might need to tour around a little bit,
well,
hop around.
It was supposed to be knight e8, knight d6, knight f7, knight e8. But now it's a little bit late for that, because I think the bishop would just trade itself off immediately.
Absolutely.
But maybe there's another route. Maybe rook knight a8. That would be a kind of you know, very study-like.
Knight A8.
Knight A8, Knight B6, Knight D7, Knight E5.
Yeah.
I'm back in business.
Oh, he's playing Knight E8. I love Knight A8 as Knight. It would have been glorious to see that here at the Dome. But he's
Bishop G6 right on the bell, eschewing the chance to swap off the bishop for that knight.
Further to Carl's original point, now we've got knight to D6 is a good move here. He still can't come into F7, but he's that bit closer to that E5 outpost.
He's actually kind of putting the pressure on C4 now, so the things have a little bit, you know, it's like this is very much a reflection of the First World War and throwing grenades from the trenches, right? We're on D6. Okay, it's not a blockading knight as you know, the Nimzovich would want it, but it's still attacking that C4 point. And look at the bishop on G6. It's actually just as much a pawn as the bishop on D6.
I think a move like bishop D6, a lot of players feel good playing it because it's rooted there and it's around the king. But as you point out, it's really not got much potential to improve from there, whereas the knight can only get better from here.
He would have done better just to swap that horrible bishop against that knight and try and open things up as much as he could, even if it meant CB, AB, and let's go for the C pawn. You know, something, anything that's open, anything that's going. I've got the exchange more. I need to open things.
It's been a weird flurry, and I think something happened with the G pawn, and there was an illegal move which kind of changed the dynamic of things. Had White been able to play F takes G6, and it would be over. As it is, Dele might need to do more work on the boxing than we initially thought. Doing more work, he certainly is, but Yordan giving back as good as he's taken. You can feel the thud. Really, with these heavyweights, when he's sitting this close ringside, you can feel it land, Carl.
Of course you can, but it's like, why go toe to toe with the guy? You know, take a step back at least from time to time. Make a, you know, slip a punch, parry a punch. Why do you have to absolutely trade punches with this guy who's got huge power?
The gum shield comes out again.
But he's just a character in the movie, right? He's just.
Exactly. I think Dele not particularly happy with that. Gives Yordan a dig to the ribs for his trouble.
But you see, Yordan, the thing is, it's like his boxing is obviously very good, and the problem is, it's like, so he wants to believe in it. Instead of that, he should maybe take a step back and say, okay, doesn't matter. You know, put my ego aside. Let's not try and make a deal in the boxing. Let's go back to the chess.
From a technical perspective, I would like to see a little more defense from both fighters who are really not paying that much attention to it. But as a spectacle, my God, this is a watch.
It's fantastic. It's really, really good. I mean, the gum shield stuff is, slightly frustrating for Dele, but you never know. Maybe it's going to put him on tilt. Certainly doesn't seem to in the boxing
ring. A lovely
ring.
check left hook there from Yordan as Dele stepped into
their
range.
cardio definitely seems to be top notch. I mean, nobody seems to be. Okay, they're pacing themselves a little more now, but it's not like they're backing off completely.
Oh, lovely little sway underneath, and again the gum shield comes out. I think we're gonna a risk of seeing a points deduction here. At the very least, the sternest of talks to. This really is inexcusable to not have a properly fitting gum shield for a man of Yordan's quality as well, who's clearly been in the ring plenty of times.
I must admit that points deduction has never been a great fear of mine during a chess boxing match. The nature of it is kind of so, let's say 0-1, the binary system, like computers are made of it, So the draw isn't really at the back of my mind as it is in chess.
No,
where there's always that kind of worry that the weaker opponent's going to.
It has occasionally happened.
It happens, but it's an anecdote. It's not the rule. It's the exception.
13 seconds to go. I mean, I think Dele will be the happier of the two, but given that we've got still quite a close chess position to go, it does feel that there's a lot to play left here, and I'm surprised. I'd mentally written this off as Dele's fight, but actually,
no, this is honestly, I'm supposed to be the GOAT, right? I wouldn't be too happy being boxing with these guys. They seem pretty scary to me.
Every round so far, we've seen a back and forth of blunders. I would not be surprised at all if we see another game-changing moment in this round. Sure, White's on top, but there's plenty of play left in it. Black can activate, in particular that knight.
The problem isn't so much the blunders. It's like, will they recognize the blunders when they happen? It's been almost kind of the whatever's happened up until now is that blunders have happened, but they haven't been recognized for what they are, and so. Well, that makes it even more volatile, but that's the whole...
And it feels a bit like, as you alluded, it's a position that both sides have kind of walked into. Obviously, they've both missed massive opportunities in a kind of quick flurry of moves. All of a sudden, a position that looked pretty trivial for white is now really not easy at all. Like, as you allude, like the c4 pawn is actually quite weak here. That d4 pawn could come alive in the future.
Protected pass pawn.
That bishop on g6 is in a world of trouble. And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we were just discussing in the break, although white is material ahead, it might not be quite as straightforward as we thought. What are your thoughts, Carl?
Well, I think that there's a lot of work to be done. For example, you could exchange and aim for the c5 pawn, but then that bad bishop on g7 all of a sudden might be a useful bad bishop who's going to defend c5, for example, so you can almost have the qualities of your faults if you
Let's talk about black's knight here, which has found its way to d6. That's quite a promising square, I think, as there's a pawn exchange.
Well, there's also a chance of connected pass pawns in black's future. Slightly tricky to engineer. I guess the key question is, how weak are the c and d pawns going to be, or are they going to be the asset that allows black to turn his game on its head?
It's all to do with is that knight going to land on e5 one day or not, right?
Yeah.
For example, knight f7 now. If he trades it, but if he doesn't,
so the bishop has dropped back to f3. So knight f7 to e5 is positionally really sound. But Yordan has instantly played bishop f8,
Why?
knight f7 to e5, and actually black starts to make real inroads there with his c and d pawns. I don't think black has seen the plan.
And white has just further entombed his bishop by that last move, g4. We were talking about the idea of a tall pawn. That bishop there on f3 is doing nothing other than defending his pawns at the moment.
there's kind of a rule in chess, like when you don't know what to do, you take your worst piece and you make it as good as you can. The worst piece wasn't the bishop on g7, as bad as it was. The priority was to move that knight to e5.
And in the meantime, Yordan has swung his rook behind one of his pawns, dreaming about pushing it at some point.
Oh, no, that's not right at all. But, okay, knight b7, actually e5 is a great move.
And this is the...
But then, I mean, rook takes, loses an exchange. He's got to be a little bit careful. But actually, in practical terms, I really, really like this move here. The king is not well placed on g3.
Well, all of a sudden, we start to understand why knight e5, putting the knight on e5 would have been so much more sense before you start your action, right?
Had black played knight f7 to e5, then not only would he have had good compensation, he might have even been better there.
And now suddenly that bishop has been activated and he's got to swap it off for the knight.
He swapped off pieces and it's white to move. So e6 now, or takes on f6. Suddenly the tide has turned again and white has that advantage because that good knight is off the board.
Honestly, I have to hand it to Dele. Like, he did make mistakes, but overall, he's actually, you know, he's got a plan. He's a man with the plan and he's going forward.
And he's penetrated Yordan's position with his rook. He's landed that rook on that juicy square on e6.
Rook to c6 and then the other rook swooping into e6 starts to look a little bit tricky. I don't think those pawns are particularly fast, though that rook behind the c pawn suggests that he wants to prove the opposite.
Well, Botvinnik would just say now it's just a matter of technique, yeah? He's entering. Malcolm Payne was...
Oh, no, not b4, not b4. And that's, unfortunately, Yordan's last pull, the possibility of connected pass pawns is gone.
I only know that if Malcolm Payne was here, he would say this is just a case of double penetration.
Double penetration, indeed, in the depths of Yordan's position. Now he's trying to swap off one of those rooks. That's a good practical decision.
I mean, yeah, if black swaps off rook here, it's over. I think he needs to just play moves like rook d7, rook d6, move the rook back, just hope for something. But that b4 move has unfortunately just left black in a world of trouble. He has no counterplay. And as Carl said, it is literally a matter of technique unless white does something weird here.
The only hope is that pawn on d4, if he can somehow push it forward and start to generate some kind of threat.
Chris, even the king.
The king,
Let's
true.
say d3, there would be always
and that's the bell. That's the bell. We've got one more round of boxing, ladies and gentlemen.
A case of missed opportunity there for Dele, perhaps. The big opportunity that you were both talking about during that round was the possibility of realizing the dream of getting that black knight in to that wonderful square e5.
Just a different world. We're just talking about a different game now, because this is one game and that was another game. I mean,
on e5 it keeps the bishop entombed. It's a wonderful square itself. You can dream of maybe pushing c4, d3.
He just has too many ways to go. He could go for simplification. He could go for attack.
Well, f6. F6 is winning now, of course.
Well,
F6
F6
does look like a rather good move.
Rook e3 check. Sorry, yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, that should still be winning.
But even if you let the rook e3 check and you go like rook c7 check and then something, you're gonna get the bishop.
I think so. I think this is very much Yordan's last stand. And yeah, you're right. It's another game. But had Black seen knight f7 to e5, then it could have been something different. But here, after a somewhat contentious boxing round with the number of gum shields falling out, I mean, maybe that's
the gum shield ejections. I think that's a
gum gate.
Gum gate indeed.
Oh, you took it out. I was there. Just a second.
What gum gate?
Gum gate. I was going to say gum gate.
It's going to be my only positive contribution here. So, what are we doing? Yordan's in trouble, and that seems to be continuing.
My God.
The one thing I will say about Dele is he shows scant regard for defence, and that chin does look held a little bit high. And just given the size of these lads, all it would take would be one punch to end it. So I'd give Yordan a fighting chance here.
He's basically. I think Dele finally has understood that chess is actually going to win. So now he's actually playing a lot on slips and just sucking up the last energy that Yordan's got. Right.
A lesson there in chess boxing and indeed in life philosophy, Carl. The chess is going to win. So just defend yourself here.
I believe that chess is the dominant term, as a signifier in the chess boxing.
Oh, as Yordan goes down. That was
my goodness.
Heavy right there. Yordan getting the once over the 8 count.
But I don't believe it's actually contradictory to what I'm saying. Chess is still the signifier. This is just the law of chess boxing. The opposite will always happen.
The law of the chess boxing jungle as Dele looks to land a couple of winging rights.
Still got a minute and a half to go. Yordan needs to conjure something, but either way, this could be a very long 90 seconds.
Whoa, these are big punches.
I think we're about to see another standing 8 count here. Referee Ronaldo stepping in to protect Yordan as he started to look a little bit shaky. I think he's getting a little talking to that this might get stopped if he continues to see him in such trouble.
I think he was kind of happy with that count too.
A thudding right to the body followed by a left hook. And again, the same combination. Yordan spitting out. That was a spitting out of the gum shield.
I'm not sure what
no qualms about that one. I might start to think about seeing the trainer throw in the towel. I think there were noises were being made from Yordan's corner there. I think you mount one last attack here.
With 33 seconds left.
Well, Dele doesn't care one way or another really, because he's not killing time. He's actually the one winning on the chess. He's the one winning on time. So it's been all around Dele, he's been the man.
I think Yordan may survive as he gets towards the last 10 seconds, but this has been most impressive as a debut.
Dele can be very proud of himself here, and also as the less experienced chess player. Couple of moments in the chess where things could have changed.
He almost swings himself off his feet there.
That was slightly cocky, I would say, even.
Yes.
That was not necessary.
Well, he's raised his arms in victory. I think he knows what's coming. With 67 seconds left on Yordan's clock, something very strange would have to happen for Dele to not come home victorious.
Stranger things have happened, Matt, in chess boxing.
I mean, not that much stranger, Chris, to be honest.
Do you remember a certain queen sacrifice? Queen sacrifice.
A certain call out.
Did it involve a certain
I was getting clobbered. But the gods, and if you notice, that sacrifice was Morphy, but on the other side of the board, it was Morphy with the king on d8 instead of
I need to double check. I remember the game you're referring to, but I didn't analyze it afterwards. That'd be a bit interesting look.
You must look, take a very close look, because it's almost like a world upon itself. It's like it's crazy. It's like it's Morphe, but reversed in a parallel universe.
To see it executed in a chess boxing scenario as well, it's quite something. As we are back to the board after what an exciting round of boxing again. We were just talking, is there any hope here for Yordan to save his position?
I think this is the soundest choice, just taking away the counterplay at this point. There's no point in trying to win. He's actually winning also on time.
D3, I mean D3 here, he's got to do that, surely. Play pawn to D3, takes bishop D4, something like that.
Yeah, just push it.
D3 is the right move.
Keep
Yordan
pushing
is keeping things alive. Rook to D6, so that bishop can come to D4 and block the rooks.
I would have put the other rook just to make sure, but okay.
Oh no, he's done it too quickly. Rook takes rook. Oh, it doesn't matter because he's got.
Checkmate in one.
Checkmate in one. No, it's check. It's check. I think that was an illegal move.
Yeah.
I think that's going to come back. So rook to H7, threatening mate. I think this is mating. I don't think it matters that the rook. Yeah, he's threatening checkmate. Dele's going to win it on the board, just as he had the success in the boxing. I think it's going to end on the board here.
I wouldn't have gone that way. I would have actually sacked against the bishop and then let my king do the rest against the
One more move. One more move.
One move away. Yordan is on the brink.
Here it comes.
Oh no, he's only delaying the inevitable. He's only delaying the inevitable. Dele has blood in his sights and a song in his heart, and it's over.
It's not over yet.
It's over.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Dele is soaking up the applause, but the game is going on. What?
No, it's all for showmanship. It's all for showmanship. He's waiting.
It's not checkmate yet. It's not checkmate yet.
It's not. Oh no. Oh no. All he's no.
Outrageous showboating. Outrageous.
That F pawn is too fast. It's still checkmate, just several moves slower. Yordan might actually just lose on time here.
9 seconds. 9, 8.
We still have 2 minutes left of the fight. Yordan is going to have to go with the speed of Usain Bolt here to have any chance, unless we get a repetition, unless Dele's not familiar, but no, it's fine. 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Will we see this end on time, or with checkmate, or something else? And Canwell has called it, and Dele, he can rise again. He can rise again.
It's over.
Bravo. 100% bravo on all scores.
Decent, that was very good.
On the chess, on time management, everything. He's very brilliant. It could have been a very different story.
It was totally unnecessary. Totally unnecessary, that last round. But good entertainment for the crowd. Nonetheless, a case of missed opportunities for Yordan as we go back to Kate in the ring.